Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Completionist. So for this episode, guys, I wanted to do a completionist point of view on a topic that I've seen quite a few YouTubers talk about over the last couple of weeks. Most specifically, it was recently done by the guys at the Pixel Game Squad or Retro Liberty, or whatever you want to call these guys. But they're a great channel that I've been subscribed to for a very long time. Their original channel, Retro Liberty, and what they're called right now, and I think they're some of the most genuine YouTubers out there. So a couple of weeks ago, they talked about what happens to your video game collection, when you die, and I wrote a very long, detailed response on that video about what my plans are, when it comes to my video game collection. So I thought I'd take the response that I wrote and actually make a video about it. Because regardless whether we like it or not, guys, we're all going to die sometime. Nobody escapes the Grim Reaper, and whenever the Grim Reaper's ready to take you, he's going to take you, and he's going to show no apologies about it. So, but I do have quite a few collectibles, not even just video games, vinyl records and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and, 80s and 90s cartoons and all that kind of stuff. But so it's something that's been on my mind for a bit, because I just turned 40 last year. And the harsh reality is unfortunately the men in my family don't have a very long life expectancy. So I've kind of been formulating in my head, what is actually going to happen to my collectibles, most specifically my video game collection, when I do pass away. And I think I've come up with a really good plan when it comes to my video game collection, when I pass away, regardless of when that happens. Now, with regards to, my religious background, I am a Roman Catholic. I do believe in God. I do believe in an afterlife, but I don't submit to any kind of creationist thinking. I'm a firm believer in science. I don't believe that the world was created, 6,000 years ago. But I do have this belief that I think, there is something beyond death. And when it comes to my religious background, I went through my first communion, first confession, confirmation, and I don't go to churches as often as what I should, maybe once or twice a year. But I've always been respectful about with regards to my faith and my beliefs. I don't push my belief system onto anyone else. And my wife is an atheist, so figure that out. A Roman Catholic, marrying an atheist, but we surprisingly, we make it work, because we're very respectful to each other, and we're always open to ideas and stuff like that. So I consider myself a very open-minded Catholic. So. And why I mention that is that when I pass away, and if there's any such way that I can see what's going on in the world, when I pass away, it's really going to make no difference to me what happens to my video game collection in the grand scheme of things, if it gets appreciated or not. But basically, what my plan with regards to my video game collection is that I constantly make the joke to my wife that she's going to outlive me. It's I think that's pretty much a guarantee that's going to happen, because the women on my wife's side of the family, they live a really, really long time. So if I do pass away, or when I do pass away, the most important thing for me in my life is that my wife is properly looked after, because she means the world to me. And I would do anything in my power to make sure that she can live as comfortably as possible. Just to ease the pain of me not being there. And so when it comes to my video game collection, she has total rights to it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. but she will ultimately decide what's going to happen to it. She'll get to keep the games that she wants to keep. Anything she has no interest in keeping, she can do whatever she wants with it. But ideally, what I'd like to do when it comes to my video game collection is that she gets to keep whatever she wants to keep, and whatever she doesn't want to keep, I want my very best friend, who's a hardcore video game collector, to help me when it comes to making sure it finds a good home. Because whatever she doesn't want to keep, if my best friend doesn't own it, I would like for him to own it. Because I know it's going to a good home, and I know it's going to get played. But realistically, he has a much bigger video game collection than what I do. So there's probably very few games that, you know, he would probably keep for himself. So what I would want for him to do is that whatever he doesn't own, whatever he already owns, is I want him to try to sell it, to try to get the most amount of money for it as possible. And I want him to keep 10 to 15% of that money for himself for helping sell the video game collection. And I would like for him to give the rest of the money from the video game collection to go to my wife and to help her through her time of grief. Because at least that way, the games that he doesn't own, they're going to a good home, and the games that he already owns, he'll make sure they'll be sold for maximum profit. So at least he can have his cut of putting in the time and the effort to get these games sold, but the lion's share of the money will go to my wife to give her financial security. That's ultimately the plan when it comes to my video game collection when I pass away. That's what I would like for it to happen. You know, I don't think there's anything in my video game collection that is even museum worthy, and I wouldn't be so selfish to think that it should be in a museum. Because no matter how much video games I have or video game items I have, there's always someone out there that has more, or has stuff that's of better collection quality and things like that. So I can't be selfish enough to think that anything in my video game collection is actually museum worthy. For me, it's more important for me that, you know, the games, you know, go to someone that's going to appreciate them, instead of just going to a reseller, or, you know, going to somebody that's not going to appreciate them or hold the same value to them that I do. Because I own the video games that I do, even though some of them may be rare, or may cost a couple of $100, or maybe $1,000, or, you know, anything along those lines. But I don't have them because of their notoriety. I don't have a rare game because it's rare. I have a rare game because I actually want to play it. You know, I'm not one of those video game collectors that puts things in plastic cases, or, you know, or seals things up, you know, to keep it protected, or like anything along those lines. You know, I've never been that kind of collector. I buy games to play them, to enjoy them, how they're meant to be played. And it's just that, you know, when I pass away, obviously my wife is going to keep the games that she wants to play and enjoy for herself. But there's a lot of games that she probably has no attachment to, and therefore they're better served in my friend's collection, or my friend making sure that they get sold to someone that will enjoy them and that they will appreciate them. Because in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to care. You know why I'm not going to care? Because I'm going to be dead. So I've already left my presence in this world, and personally, I would rather be known for what I do for other people and the positive impact that I've had in other people's lives than to be known just by what I own. Because at the end of the day, guys, these are only material things, and, you know, we can't hold on to them forever. Eventually we're all going to pass away sometime, and that's the harsh reality of it. So the best way to look at it is that you should be more defined in your life by who you are and what you do for other people than by what you own. It's something that I firmly believe in. You know, when it comes to some of the other collectibles I have, you know, I'm actually a Yu-Gi-Oh card collector as well. And the plan with regards to, you know, my Yu-Gi-Oh collection is that I'm 40 years old now. But when I get closer to retirement, you know, when I turn 50 years old, I'm going to sell the entire collection. And use that money to kind of cross a few things off on the bucket list, you know, do some traveling, see some places, and do some things that, you know, we've always wanted to do. And because it's like I said before, you know, we can't hold on to this stuff forever. You know, my wife and I, we don't have any kids, and we don't have any plans of having any kids, so it's not like we can pass it on to the next generation. I got nieces and nephews, but they don't really have any interest in retro games or like anything along those lines. But when it comes to my collectibles, I would like to think that I'm adequately prepared for what happens to the collection when I pass away. I think the only exception to the rule would be my Xenogears collectibles. Because obviously to those, Xenogears is my favorite game of all time. I do own quite a few awesome objects from that game series. So personally, I don't know what I would do with it. I don't know what my wife would do with it. I don't know if she would keep them as a constant reminder of me and the positive impact that I had in my life. But personally, if she didn't want to keep the Xenogears collectibles, personally, I would rather her find a true dedicated Xenogears collector and just make sure that they go to a good home. And hopefully the person who gets them will enjoy them as much as I do. And that's pretty much it. So anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on what happens to my video game collection, you know, when I pass away. Because like I said before, you can't hold on to this stuff forever. And as long as you get your use out of it and you enjoy your video game collection to the fullest, that's all that matters. So to those that collect video games, I'm sure you guys have other similar plans. I would love to hear them. So anyway, thanks for watching another episode of The Completionist, and take care, and I wish you nothing but the best. Later.